Two women graduate the same year from the same state university. Same degree, same starting salary, $48,000, marketing coordinator, mid-sized city, same rent, same monthly take-home of about $3,100 after taxes. Their apartments are 3 miles apart. They get coffee at the same place on Sunday mornings. 10 years later, one of them opens her banking app on a Tuesday and checks her balance the way you'd check the weather. Casually, no stakes. She has $47,000 in a brokerage account, a used 2021 Honda she owns outright, and a mortgage payment that fits inside her budget without touching the sides. The other one has 3 unread voicemails from a number she doesn't recognize. There's a drawer in her kitchen she hasn't opened since February because she knows what's in it. She makes $67,000 now, nearly $20,000 more than when she started, and she has less financial room than she did at 23. They made the same income, they live in the same city. This isn't a story about money, it's a story about what happens when normal decisions stack on top of each other for a decade. My name is Nick, and I spend way too much time thinking about why people with identical starting points end up in completely different financial realities. If you've ever felt like you're earning more than you used to, but somehow getting further behind, subscribe and give this a like, because today we're going to follow one of those women, we're going to call her Maya, through every level of debt in America, from her first car loan at 23 all the way to the floor dropping out. And we're going to run every number because the math is the whole story. Maya is 23. She just started her job. She's not reckless. She budgeted carefully. She reads about personal finance. She knows compound interest is a thing. Her take home is $3,100 a month. Her rent is $1,200. After rent, she has $1,900 left for everything else. Groceries, utilities, phone, health insurance, gas, savings. It's tight, but it works. She has $2,400 in savings and 0 debt. She is exactly 1 car away from level 1. Level 1, the car loan. Maya's car dies on a Tuesday, timing belt, the mechanic says. Repair costs more than the car's worth. She needs to get to work. She doesn't have $12,000 cash sitting around. Nobody at 23 does. So she walks into a dealership on a Thursday afternoon. The salesman is friendly, smells like a department store, and within 4 minutes is sliding a worksheet across the desk called a 4 square. It has 4 boxes: vehicle price, trade-in value, down payment, and monthly payment. This sheet is not designed to help Maya make a good financial decision. It is designed to move her attention away from the total cost of the vehicle and toward one number, the monthly payment, because that number will always sound reasonable. Maya finances a $28,000 used Honda, nothing fancy. 7 years old, 44,000 miles. The loan is $24,000 after her $4,000 down payment, which, by the way, is most of her savings, at 9.1% APR over 60 months. Her monthly payment, $499. She signs, drives home, feels fine about it. What Maya doesn't think about in that moment, over 60 months, she'll pay $29,940 total on a $24,000 loan. That's $5,940 in pure interest on a car that will be worth maybe $7,000 when she's done paying for it. She also now needs full coverage insurance, $180 a month. Gas, $120, registration, maintenance, another $80 a month on average. The true monthly cost of that reliable $499 car payment is $879. Here's what Maya's budget looks like now. Take home, $3,100. Rent, $1,200. Total car costs, $879. Remaining for everything else, $1,021. Here's what the F&I manager at that dealership made on Maya's deal. Roughly $1,900 in back-end profit. Extended warranties, paint protection coating for a car that will be worth $6,000 in 4 years, and gap insurance rolled into the loan at 9.1% interest. The paint protection coating costs the dealer $200 and sells for $800. It protects the paint on a used car that she parks outside in a city where it snows. The gap insurance she financed at 9.1% interest, she could have bought it through her auto insurer for $6 a month. She didn't know that. Nobody told her because nobody in that transaction made money when Maya made a smart decision. The F&I manager made $1,900. Maya made a monthly payment. Maya's savings, $400. The check engine light is not on yet. The only real symptom at this level is that she can't seem to build savings back up. She doesn't know why yet. She will. Level 2, student loans. 6 months after Maya starts her job, an email arrives from her loan servicer with the subject line, "Welcome to repayment," with an exclamation point, as though this is something to be celebrated, as though she has been waiting for this, as though the act of beginning to pay back $34,000 she borrowed at 18 years old is some kind of milestone she should mark in her calendar. She does not feel welcomed. She feels like someone just knocked on her door to collect. Let's be clear about something before we run the math. Student loans are not what happens when you're irresponsible. They're what happens when you follow instructions. Maya was 17 when she signed her master promissory note. She didn't know what a promissory note was. Neither did the 17-year-old sitting next to her. The school handed her a financial aid package, pointed to a number, and said, "This is how you go to college." The same college whose endowment grew 12% last year, the same college that just finished building a $40 million student wellness center with a rock climbing wall. She signed because she was told that's what you do. The average federal student loan balance right now is $39,547 per borrower. Maya's is $34,000 at 6.5% interest. On the standard 10-year plan, her monthly payment is $386. What Maya doesn't know, what almost nobody tells you, is that the average borrower doesn't actually pay student loans off in 10 years. The real average payoff time is 20 years because life gets in the way. Because 21% of borrowers see their balance increase in the first 5 years of repayment when their payment is too small to cover accruing interest. Because the system was designed to extend, not to resolve. Maya's full budget now. Take home $3,100, rent $1,200. Car costs $879. Student loan $386 remaining for everything else, $635. She stops going to the gym. Not a dramatic decision. She just stops renewing the membership when it comes up. She starts bringing lunch to work 5 days a week. She is not struggling, exactly. She's just running the mental calculation every time she spends money. Every single time. Maya's savings, $400, unchanged for 9 months. She is now one unexpected expense away from level 3. Level 3, credit cards. Maya's car needs new brakes. The quote is $740. She doesn't have $740. She puts it on the credit card she's had since college, the one she opened at a checkout counter because a 19-year-old in a polo shirt told her she'd save 15% on a $47 purchase, and she saved $7.05. She now owes $340 on that card at 31.2% APR, has been paying minimums on it for 14 months, and has successfully paid back approximately $11 of the original balance. The $7.05 she saved has cost her $94 in interest so far, with more on the way. That is a 1,228% markup on a discount. Total U.S. credit card debt just hit $1.28 trillion, the highest in recorded history, up 66% from the pandemic low. The average household carrying a balance owes $11,507. The average APR is 22.3%. Store cards average 30%. And here's the thing about 22% interest that sounds abstract until you do the math slowly. If Maya has a $3,200 credit card balance at 24% APR and makes only the minimum payment, which is typically 2% of the balance, or about $64, here's what happens. Of that $64, approximately $54 goes to interest. $10 touches the principal. The balance decreases by $10. Next month, she owes $3,190, and the cycle repeats. At that pace, it takes 14 years to pay off $3,200, and she'll pay $4,800 in interest on top of it. She borrowed $3,200. She paid back $8,000. That minimum payment on her statement is not a suggestion. It was designed by a team of behavioral economists whose entire job is to find the lowest number that feels responsible while keeping Maya paying as long as possible. Research published in Psychological Science found that when the minimum payment was removed from statements entirely, people increased what they paid by 70%. The number is there to cap her payment. It is working exactly as intended. Maya's balance is now $3,200 across 2 cards. She's paying minimums $108 combined because that's what's available. Maya's full budget now: take home $3,100, rent $1,200, car costs $879, student loan $386, credit card minimums $108, remaining for everything else $527. She refreshes her bank account in the parking lot before she goes into Target just to know the number before she walks in. She doesn't do this consciously. It has just become something she does. She starts doing math in her head at restaurants while her friends are still talking. She orders the second cheapest thing on the menu, always. Not the cheapest, because that feels obvious. The second cheapest, she tells herself, the credit card balance is temporary. It has been temporary for 19 months. Level 4, the mortgage. Maya is 29. She gets a raise to $58,000. She's been renting for 6 years. Her rent just went up to $1,450. And her parents lovingly, repeatedly have mentioned that she's basically paying someone else's mortgage. She decides to buy. The mortgage broker looks at her income, runs her numbers, and tells her she's approved for $310,000. He says this the way a doctor says you're cleared to run a marathon. It's good news. Approval means ability. Maya finds a house for $295,000. She puts 5% down, $14,750, which takes every dollar she has, and then some, including a gift from her parents. She has $0 in savings after closing. Her mortgage is $280,250 at 6.9% over 30 years. Monthly mortgage payment, $1,853, but that's just principal and interest. Let's add everything the mortgage broker didn't mention. Property taxes, $340 a month. Homeowners insurance, which has gone up 48% since 2020 because climate change decided to start pricing itself into premiums. Another $210 a month. Maintenance. The standard rule is 1% of home value per year, which is $2,950 annually or $246 a month. And because Maya put less than 20% down, she pays PMI's private mortgage insurance $148 a month. This is the monthly fee you pay for the crime of not being wealthy enough to have put 20% down. It protects the bank if you default. You pay it for the bank. Total monthly housing cost, $2,797. Take a second with that number. $2,797 a month. That's before Maya buys a single can of soup. Now let's run her full budget at 29. New take home, after raise, $3,580 mortgage plus housing costs, $2,797. Car costs, $879. Student loan, $386. Credit card minimums, $185. Remaining for everything else, minus $667. That is negative $667. Not tight, not stretched, negative. And so Maya does what millions of people do. She refinances the car to lower the payment, switches to income-driven repayment on her student loans, which drops the monthly payment but extends the loan by years, and moves card balances to a 0% promo card. She makes it technically work. Her margin is about $190 a month. There is no emergency fund. There's no retirement contribution beyond the employer match she kept because canceling it would mean admitting she can't afford the house. Now, the inspector's report, the inspector found 9 separate items he described as recommend monitoring. The HVAC is original to the house. The water heater is from 2009. The electrical panel has some components approaching end of useful life. His professional conclusion on all 9 items was that they were functional. Functional is inspector language for Not broken today, not my problem tomorrow. Maya asked what recommend monitoring meant. He said to keep an eye on things. She bought the house. Over 30 years at 6.9%, Maya will pay approximately $387,000 in interest on her $280,000 mortgage. She bought a $295,000 house and will pay $682,000 for it. The house will likely appreciate, but so will everything else she needs to buy with money she doesn't have. She found this out 3 weeks after closing when she got her first property tax bill and realized she'd been doing the math wrong. The check engine light came on last week. She has not gotten it diagnosed. She knows what it'll cost. She's waiting until she has the money, which is a sentence that now governs basically every decision she makes. Everything above assumed one thing, that nothing goes wrong. Level 5, the floor drops. 8 months after Maya moves in, her water heater fails. The replacement is $1,400. She puts it on the card. 2 months after that, she gets a bill from an urgent care visit she thought her insurance covered. It's $890. She puts it on the card. Her credit card balance is now $9,400 across 3 cards. Her minimum payments are $320 a month. She is paying $320 a month, and the balances are still growing because the interest is accruing faster than the minimums cover it. Then Maya's company does a round of layoffs. She is not laid off, but her department is restructured and her hours are effectively cut. Her take-home drops to $2,900. She is now $800 short every month before she buys a single grocery item. This is where the drawer comes from. The kitchen drawer with the envelopes she hasn't opened since February. She knows what they are. There are 3 from the credit card companies, not statements, the other kind, with return addresses she recognizes. There is one from a collection agency. Her student loan servicer has called twice. She has not called back. Not because she's irresponsible, because calling back requires her to hear a number she already knows, and hearing it out loud doesn't make it smaller. In 2025, 565,759 Americans filed for bankruptcy, up 11% from the year before. December alone jumped 21% year over year. The average filer earns between $35,000 and $70,000. These are not reckless spenders. 2/3 of all personal bankruptcies in America are tied to medical expenses, the number one cause. Not vacations, not impulse purchases, a bill for a thing that happened to their body that they did not choose. Maya is not at bankruptcy yet, but she is 2 more unexpected expenses away from it. She knows this. She lies awake at 2 a.m., not thinking about anything specific, just running numbers, the car payment, the mortgage, the card balances, the minimum that's due Thursday. She doesn't have insomnia. She has math. People who have gone through bankruptcy describe the automatic stay, the legal order that immediately stops all collection calls, all wage garnishment, all creditor contact as, and I want to be specific here, the first moment of peace in years. The first moment in years. That's not a footnote. That's an indictment of what the system does to people who got caught by it. Let me show you the other version of this story, because this is where the real cost becomes visible. Alternate Maya. Same $48,000 salary, same city, same rent of $1,200. Bought a $9,000 Honda Civic with cash she'd been saving. No car payment. She put $499 a month, the exact payment the other Maya has, directly into a Roth IRA invested in an S&P 500 index fund. At 55, alternate Maya has $820,000 in that investment account from the car payment she never made. The Maya we've been following has a 2019 Honda she's still making payments on, $9,400 in credit card debt, a water heater she financed, and $1,100 in savings. Same salary, same city, same coffee shop. Here's the number that should genuinely stop you cold. The average American running a car loan, student loans, and credit card debt simultaneously pays about $1,500 a month in non-mortgage debt service. If that $1,500 had been invested instead at the historical 8% annual return over 30 years, it becomes $2.2 million. That's not the interest you paid. That's the compounding wealth the interest took from you, permanently. From 1990 to 2025, median household income grew about 180% in nominal terms. In the same period, housing costs rose 427%, healthcare rose 418%. College tuition rose 263%. New car prices rose 223%. The debt is not a character flaw. The debt is the gap between what everything costs and what everyone earns, filled with borrowed money at interest rates that guarantee someone else gets wealthy while you tread water. In total interest paid across all consumer debt in America reaches approximately $1 trillion per year. Not building hospitals, not funding schools, transferring wealth from people who need to borrow to institutions that profit from lending. Every day, at scale. The question is whether you're going to let it run on you or understand it clearly enough to make different choices. I'm not going to tell you to skip the avocado toast. I'm not going to suggest a budgeting app. I'm going to say something simpler. The fact that you feel financially behind despite doing everything correctly is not a personal failure. It is a predictable, documented, mathematically inevitable outcome of a system where costs have outpaced wages for 35 years and the gap has been filled systematically with debt products that are specifically engineered to be easy to acquire and expensive to hold. Maya is not a cautionary tale about irresponsibility. She's a cautionary tale about what normal looks like now. Car loan at 23, student loans at 22, credit cards filling the gaps by 26. Mortgage at 29 that the broker said was fine. And then something goes wrong because something always goes wrong, and suddenly you realize the life you were building was entirely dependent on nothing going wrong. You can make different choices, not because you're smarter than Maya, but because you can see the structure now. So here is what the structure actually says in plain terms. When you're standing in a dealership and the salesman slides a worksheet across the desk, you are not negotiating a car purchase. You are being steered away from the total cost